Hi everyone, this is Kylie with the City of Miami's BE 305 program. In this video, I'm going to go over how to add a property within Energy Star Portfolio Manager. Before we get started, I want to point out that this step can take some time, so make sure to set aside about 20 minutes to finish it all in one sitting. You are unable to pause and save your work in the middle of this step, and you will have to start over if you can't finish. To begin, go to the Portfolio Manager login page, which can be found at portfoliomanager.energystar.gov/pm/login. Once you're here, you'll want to sign into your account. If you have not yet created an account, you'll want to watch my video titled How to Create an Account in Energy Star Portfolio Manager. Once you log into this page, select Add a Property. The next page is going to ask you to select your property type. There are over 80 different property types listed in this drop-down menu, so make sure to select the property type that best describes your building. If there is more than one property type in the building, select the property type that encompasses at least 50% of the building's square footage. If there isn't a single property type that it takes up at least 50% of the building's square footage, select Mixed Use as the property type. Next, select how many buildings are a part of your property and its construction status. Once this page is filled out, click Get Started. The next page will then ask for some basic information about your property, such as the property name, address, year built, gross floor area, irrigated area, and occupancy. As you can see, a number of fields are highlighted in blue. If you're unsure of what the field is specifically asking for, hover over the blue text and a more detailed definition will pop up explaining what the field is seeking. When you're entering the building's gross floor area, make sure this is the square footage for the building only, excluding any parking square footage from this value. Additionally, I suggest visiting What Should I Include in My GFA for additional details on what to include and exclude in your building's gross floor area. As you can see on the right side of the screen, this link provides an informative list of the areas to both include and exclude from the building's gross floor area. When determining the occupancy of your building, look at the percentage of your building's gross floor area that was occupied and/or operational during the previous year, the year you will be submitting your next benchmarking report for. Occupancy in this sense is not a value of the number of people or employees in the building. It's a matter of how the building is used. For example, let's say you have a 10-story office building where all 10 floors are typically occupied, yet this reporting year only 9 of the floors were occupied. The percentage occupancy would be 90%, assuming that each floor is the same size. This value can be updated at any time, and it should be when the occupancy changes in the building from year to year. The next section is the standard IDs. Here, use the Standard ID City/Town drop-down menu to select Miami Building ID. Then enter your unique building ID. This ID can be found on most of the physical mailers and emails you have received about this requirement. Additionally, you can visit www.buildingid.touchstoneiq.com to obtain your Miami Building ID. If you're unsure of your ID or you cannot locate it, you can skip this step for now and come back to it later. Watch my video titled How to Find and Attach Your Miami Building ID for further instructions on how to find and attach your building ID. Lastly, read through the statements on the right side of the screen and mark any that apply to your building. For parking, you'll want to consider how the parking for the property is metered. If your parking lot energy, such as lights, EV chargers, etc., is metered with the building's meters, then you need to select My Property's Energy Consumption Includes Parking Areas. This will prompt you later to specify more details about your parking use. If your parking lot energy is metered separately from your building's meters, then you won't make this selection and you will not include a parking use type in Portfolio Manager. Visit our FAQs page at benchmark305.com to learn more about how to benchmark parking areas. Once this page is filled out, click Continue. The next page is going to ask you some questions about how your property is used. As an example, I've selected an office building, but each property type has a unique set of fields, so do not be surprised if your fields look a bit different. Again, if you're unsure of what a specific field is asking for, just hover over the blue text to get a more detailed explanation. If you'd like more information about the field, click on the text and you'll be taken to the Portfolio Manager glossary. When trying to determine the weekly operating hours of your building, think about the total number of hours during the week that the majority of workers are present. This is not the same thing as total operating hours. For example, if your building is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but the majority of workers are only in the building from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, your weekly operating hours should be 40, while your total operating hours would be 60. Now you will need to determine the number of workers on the main shift. Similar to the weekly operating hours, this is not the same thing as total number of workers in the building. This is only asking for the worker count present during the main shift. Thinking about the previous example, if you have 10 workers, but only 8 of them work during that main shift from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, your number of workers on the main shift is 8, not 10. The rest of the fields on here are pretty self-explanatory, so I'll jump down to the parking use section. This section is just asking for the square footage details of the building's parking areas, whether the parking area is open, partially enclosed, or fully enclosed, and if there's any supplemental heating for the parking space. All of these fields are required to be filled out. If you originally selected that your property's energy consumption includes parking areas when you were adding your property to Portfolio Manager, but you later realized that the parking is separately metered from your building, you can go ahead and either enter zeros for all parking information or delete out the parking use type entirely. Lastly, I want to point out that this current as of column is automatically defaulted to January 1st of the year the building was built. Do not change that date. It is helpful to keep that date as far back as possible to avoid any confusion in the Portfolio Manager system. Once all this information has been filled out, select Add Property at the bottom of the page. At this point, you have successfully added a property to your Portfolio Manager account. This information will be saved in your account, but you can always edit use details on any property listed in your dashboard. Whenever you need to make updates to property use type details, use the Edit Use Details function. To update details about your property, find the drop-down menu under Action in your Details tab for the specific use type that says I want to ... then click Edit Use Details. Here you can make any updates, then click Save and you're all set. That's all I have for this topic, but check out my next video for adding a meter and inputting utility data. I'm Kylie with the City of Miami's BE 305 program. Thank you for watching.